Try to do this quick because I'm about to make my dessert to go to bed. Strawberry bananas, two types of yogurt. Why? Summer's coming. Summer buddy. I'm too old for this shit. Anyway, yeah, this, I'm not surprised. I didn't even know I was on there to begin with. This was like when they put up a cyborg movie when Snyder was running things. You were never going to make a cyborg movie. Ever. And this, it feels like a negotiation tactic to me because it feels like, you want 300, so you ask for five, so you negotiate down to 300. So he put all these movies on there, gets the ones he wants, and, he can let that one go. It's just, you are not going to put, I mean, it's like New Gods. You are not going to put full blown Kirby madness on the screen. You saw with the Eternals, it takes a TV series to truly do the weirdness and extravagance of a Kirby story. It really does. The Eternals wasn't a bad movie. It just wasn't a good one, and it needed time to tell those stories, all the stories of the people in it. They didn't. It just didn't work the way it did. Same thing. New Gods. It was never going to work. It was never going to happen. So I don't even know I was on there. But and same thing for the Authority. You are not going to have like, I'm using very broad terms, but a violent version of the Justice League when you don't even have a Justice League yet. Now it's so much more than that. This was a Wildstorm concept. It started off as Strike Force, which was super, super 90s and painful. It's like, like you've got this super aggressive, like militaristic UN that's keeping everything safe. And they get one guy to run and he's going to save the world. And he's using all these metahumans and regular humans. And it's like, they're all tough and they kill. They're tough and they kill. And they push this so hard, so much. It becomes a parody of itself. It's so silly. I mean, look at this. Every single one of those panels happened in one issue. Yeah, and it was like this. So I tried to read it for other reasons. I'm gonna get to that. I tried to read it, and it's just like no. But then later, Warren Ellis took over. He made it a much better book. All that '90s excess was gone. And then the recurrent theme of we have to do something more than just punch out bad guys. That's not saving the world. We're just punching other people out. That's not doing anything. They just repeat this over and over again. But there is, and the reason I'm wearing this, a Superman character. And his name is John Cumberland. If that sounds familiar, that means if you read Planetary, John Cumberland's mentioned so much in that. And Planetary takes place in the same universe as the Strike Force and the Authority, though it doesn't seem like it. They do have a crossover issue, which is very bad, but they mention it. And basically, John Cumberland is Superman. He's literally sent from another universe to be saved by his family, and he lands in this universe, and he pops up in the 30s, and he tries to do good. I mean, look at this. They they aren't subtle about it, and it doesn't work. He kind of gives up. He disappears, and he like sits on a mountain for 70 years. And the guy who's running Strike, who's running what is Stormwatch, initially he's like just a hard edged good guy, and then later once Warren Ellis took over, he kind of perverted him, and he made him eventually darker because he created Jenny Sparks, who was going to take over. So he made this guy kind of a bad guy, and we get into that because he's watching. He's watching. I'm John Cumberland, whose name is the High. He's just sitting on a mountaintop. His hair is growing, and then one day he's gone, and uh, this guy freaks out because again, he's Superman level. He can change the world if he wants to. So he comes off because he unites with all these other superheroes who are analogs of something else. You've got kind of a Batman character, though he's also kind of like the Shadow, but then again, Batman is a lot like the Shadow. You've got a Wonder Woman character, you've got a sorcerer, you've got all this stuff. And basically, he comes off his mountain, comes to UN, burns the flags, and says, "Look, you knew me from 7 years ago. I want to save the world, and we're going to save it, and then we're going to go away, and that's it. They're going to give people all the resources and everything they need, so they don't need governments or anything else anymore." The guy running Stormwatch isn't having this. He just like kill them all, kill them all. And Jenny Sparks, as some of you may know, is the character that Warren Ellis created. She's like a century baby. He creates a lot of them. They're born at the beginning of every century to protect that century. And he brought her into Stormwatch, but he keeps the fact that he's going after John Cumberland from her. And when she finds out, she's incensed because she knew him again, being a century old, and she loved him. And she loved, and what she loved about him was truly his idealism. She even says, "If you'd come to me months ago, years ago, even last week, I would have joined you on this." And she tries to talk to the guy who's running Stormwatch, whose name I'm just forgetting. I'll put it here. and maybe she should talk to him and work with him because he also said he wants to save the world. That's how he got Jenny Sparks to join his team to save the world. But now he's gone crazy. Like, no, no, we're going to save the world my way, not his way. He's going to kill anyone who's trying to save the world in a way that he doesn't like. That's where he's gone crazy. He does kind of have a point because what Cumberland's going to do is like nanotech is going to give people everything they want and need, so there's no need for a government, and everything's just going to. He says it's just going to be kind of a chaos. It's not going to work. Which is it's a valid point, but killing everybody is not going to work. But anyway, he does succeed in killing all the team that John Cumberland has working with him, and John Cumberland just loses it. He's coming up to destroy the Stormwatch ship, and no one can contact him, but Stormwatch has a force field that he cannot penetrate. And Jenny's just like, and then again he just runs into it and he dies. And she's like, the minute he came back, he was a bug on a windshield because he was too idealistic. But again, he's Superman. He's like the classic Superman. He wants to save everything. He's not going to force people. He's just going to give them things and try and save them. And all the people on his team who have also been super, they all feel the same way. They're going to give and go away. And after this ends Stormwatch, which then becomes the Authority, she's running a team in place of Stormwatch. And again, and this thing is, again, we're not doing anything good in the world by punching out bad. We've got to do change. And eventually the Authority does make actual change in the universe. And the problem with this is you have to keep going. And they do. I'll give them credit for they do keep going, but it's also dated immediately because they're talking about Tony Blair. See, that's dated immediately. That's dated. Tony Blair hasn't been around in what, 20 years? It's yeah. So they have to keep going. What happens when you change the world? The world's going to push back. Then you have to take it over, and eventually they do take over the United States. There's a whole series I'm tempted to read because Ed Brubaker wrote it, so it's got to be good. Where they take over the United States because that's how it has. What these types of stories, when heroes actually make actual change the world, they have to keep going. They have to go. You have to do what the world's going to do in response. It becomes and eventually it's going to become a book that what you can't relate to in any way because it's not taking place in your world, and you really just can't kind of jump in on it. I don't think because they've changed it from an approximation of our world to something completely different because it has to become something completely different. I think Miracle Man did the same thing. It has to become a completely different world. It can't stay the same. You can't pick it up in 5 years and get Superman and Lex Luthor fighting it over again. That's gone. That was changed 5 years ago for good, unless they change the dynamic completely. Lex Luthor is legitimately someone who wants human freedom from Superman and Justice League running the world. And that's what you get. But you have to keep going forward. It can never stay in that one place, which is kind of taxing for a writer, and not all writers are up to it. I didn't follow, but last I heard, I think the Earth they're on got destroyed, and only they survived. So they have gone forward, but see, that's the price. You have to keep going forward. You have to keep on moving. So if you're gonna read it, I would say start when Warren Ellis took over. Don't try to read that '90s stuff. It is painful. Um, that's on the first run of it is on DC, on the DC app. The second installment, Warren Ellis wrote, was part of Image, so it's not on there. You probably have to go to somewhere else to find it or find the trade. And then when it comes back to becoming the Authority, uh, that's also on DC. So yeah, you can read that. And after Warren Ellis came Mark Millar. And if you don't believe when I say Mark Millar hates superheroes, he does. See what he does with it because he creates a version of the Avengers, and it's literally been run by Jack Kirby, a version of Jack Kirby. That's who it is. Who's creating all these heroes? He's been doing it since the '40s, and they are horrible, horrible people. And I think they had to change it because Captain America gets one guy and like bends him over the hood of a car, and yeah. So again, Mark Millar hates superheroes, so that should not have been unexpected. And even the way he treats Jack Kirby is like this kind of like evil little man. It's like, yeah, it's really weird. So yeah, I never thought the Authority was going to make it to a movie. You are not going to get $200-300 million to make a violent version of the Justice League when you don't even have a Justice League yet. That was never going to happen. Probably the only thing that would get any buzz was the fact that the Superman and Batman analogs, Apollo and Midnighter, are gay and in love. That's it. That's it. That's the only thing that would get you any traction, and that's still not worth $200-300 million. This was never going to happen. So no, this is absolutely no surprise to me. And they should also move them back to their own universe. I think again, they probably maybe they do have a different version of them in another universe still, but they also exist in the mainstream DC universe. Midnighter and Apollo alongside Superman and Batman, which makes them completely redundant. Again, that's why the Justice Society needs their own Earth, because Alan Scott and Jay Garrick are nothing in a world with Hal Jordan and Barry Allen, because they're after Hal Jordan. You got John Stewart, you got Guy Gardner, you got those other three that I don't really care about. Well, Kyle Rayner kind of care about. And then, with the after Barry Allen, you got Wally West, and you've got Bart Allen, you've got a bunch of other pieces. They're redundant and they are old, and it doesn't matter. Put them back on their own earth. Have it set in the 70s, where it's like 40 years later, where they're still not old but older, and a whole new generation has come up. You can tell interesting stories. But right now in the mainstream DC universe, they are useless and redundant, kind of like the Wildstorm characters. So give them their own world. The people who like them will follow them if the stories are good. But to put them in a world where they will always be second best, Apollo's never going to be better than Superman. Midnighter technically supposed to be better than Batman. His mind operates, I think there's a computer in it. He can calculate any move. And he always says, I've calculated this time. I've done this fight 93 times in my mind, and I win every way. I was like, no, that's a parody of Batman. That's Batman from The Dark Knight. I've done this 3 times. 2 kill, 1 paralyzes. No, they have no place here, and they should just move them along. Yeah, that went on too long. Okay, now let's get this yogurt going. Yum.